Faith doesn't mean free, and if you don't value your work, neither will anyone else. God gave you a talent, not to keep it quiet, but to impact and inspire, and yes, make a great living from your music. And in this video, I want to share with you, how do you make money as a Christian artist and musician in today's crazy music industry? And if you're not a Christian, you're still going to get a ton of value because I'm going to be sharing about crossing over. My name's Chris, also known as the artist Manifest. I've been doing rock and hip hop for the last 20 plus years, and we've had success in both the Christian and the mainstream industries. And the very first way I ever made money from my music was playing live, playing at my local church. They found out that I was doing hip hop and stuff, and so they asked me to perform at our youth group. And so me and my buddy did a show there. We did like 3 or 4 songs, and they ended up taking up an offering for us and gave us some money. And I didn't even think we were going to get paid. And that first little show connected us to the general youth of that city, and they asked us to perform at a youth conference like maybe a couple months later, and we got paid again. And then there were other youth pastors there that saw us play and asked us to perform there. And this just started to kind of spiral into us doing more shows, but it started by doing one show. And one thing I realized is, yes, the music is really important, but also is your attitude showing up, and also what is your message and what is your heart. Like, we wouldn't just perform songs. I would also share my story, my testimony of what God had done in my life, how I came to know Jesus. Like, yeah, we had to put on a show. We had to, share our music. That had to be dope. That's always important. But then it's your attitude that will keep you there. It's your attitude that will open more doors, which really leads me to the next thing, which is referrals, right? Like, if you notice there, like, that's like just the referral business. And whether we got them automatically or actually asking them, like, hey, pastor, whatever, do you know anyone else where we could play, where would be a good fit? Maybe it's not even in our city. Maybe we're starting to branch out to other cities, right? Which led me to what we started to do to really grow this thing, was to start banging out like 20 to 50 emails a day to churches saying, hey, my name's Chris Manifest. I'm a Christian artist. I'm going to be in your town at this time. Wanted to see if you'd be interested in having us perform at your church. Now, there's where it gets interesting, where they're like, oh, okay, they respond, and they're like, yeah, we like your stuff, because we'd send them a link to maybe to a video of us performing and a link to our music as well, so they could check us out and decide, right? And especially if I'm like, hey, Pastor so-and-so told us to email you, that's even stronger. But then when they're like, well, how much do you charge, right? And this is where it's really important, where you got to know your value. You got to know your numbers, right? But sometimes when you're growing, you still also want to get the gig. So sometimes we'll respond with something, or we did respond, because I don't play shows anymore, is we'd be like, hey, normally we charge, let's just say $2,000, but we're willing to work within your budget because we really just want to come out there and minister to your kids, right? And so it's like you're putting the number out there, but you're also leaving the door open, right? And sometimes you won't get a response at all. And that's because maybe the number freaked them out. And that's where sometimes you got to follow up with another email, or you got to pick up the phone and you got to just say, hey, pastor, whatever, just want to follow up with you. We'd love to come and, and just connect with people. Be human, right? Let them know you're a real person. And sometimes picking up the phone, that just breaks the ice. But you want to have just a good heart on this. But this is what we did. And there's nothing wrong with like charging. Like at the beginning, we charged maybe $250 a show, then $500, then quickly $1,000 and $1,500, because all of a sudden, if I'm bringing a band and gas and getting there, right? Like, it all costs money to get there. But if you don't know your value, right? Somebody will put a value on you, and I promise you, it'll be a lot less than what value you put on yourself. So know your prices, and don't be afraid to charge more. So not only did we start playing shows at churches and conferences, we played shows at jails, we played shows at Christian schools, Christian colleges, Christian music festivals, and of course those Christian conferences, which were awesome. And all of a sudden we're just playing for thousands of more people. And this is where I would be playing like 100 to 150 shows a year. But one of the ways that we really survived was merch. Okay, and I'm wearing one of our shirts right now that says Trust God. This is the hoodie that we got made. And what I've really learned is it's not so much just about your brand name, Manifest, okay? And a lot of, fans and whatnot will buy your merch just because you were on stage and because it's got your name on it. But I really want to challenge you to go deeper, right? Like, especially with your shirts and hoodies and stuff, and have a message, have something that goes deeper. Maybe it's regarding your lyric, but something that people would want to wear even if they didn't know your band name or your artist name, right? Like, you really want to go deeper with maybe behind the lyrics, or a certain lyric that has a strong message behind it that someone would want to wear. That could be on a coffee mug, that could just stand alone without being attached to you, right? You will sell so many more t-shirts and hoodies. And of course, you're going to want to have CDs there, okay? You want to have vinyl. You're going to want to have stickers, okay? It doesn't matter, but like, some people will say CDs are dead, but like, that's because they don't play live shows. Fans still want a souvenir. When we were nobody at all, I remember we were selling t-shirts out of our trunk, okay? Hoodies out of our trunk. So you want to have some dope designs and that have some really cool messages behind them, because they will sell like crazy and people will want to support you. They might not want to get the music because they'll listen to it on Spotify. Some will, but then you want to have merch. I would have played my first show unless I had even stickers or something that I could monetize. And so you can get a small run. It doesn't mean you have to go ordering hundreds of shirts. Do a small run of 20, 40, 50, right? Because you're going to sell them to your friends, and family members are all going to want to support you as well too. But you want to have merch. Also, for payment, not many people carry cash anymore. So you want to have either the Square app or a Shopify app or something on your phone, so you can take payment right there, and most importantly, credit card, okay? Otherwise, you are going to miss out on crazy amounts of sales. When we all of a sudden were able to take credit card, sales went through the freaking roof. So sign up with the Square app. There's a Shopify app that also can connect to a store so you can take credit card. Get that before, so you basically have the little merchant machine, and your sales will go through the roof with that. Number 3 is songwriting. Okay, if you want to start making money as an artist, you can become a songwriter, right? And there's 2 ways you can approach this. You're either writing songs for you yourself as an artist, right? And you blow those songs up and you get known as an artist. And we'll talk about Spotify and different things and some strategies specifically for the Christian music industry. But I'm talking about just like songwriting, right? Like writing, it's either Christian songs, worship songs, so that you can tap into that CLI money or CCLI money, right? That gets sung in churches or whatnot because it's reported and there's a different royalty system for there. But you got to get known as a songwriter. And so it's really, you're either getting known as a songwriter because you blew up as an artist and they know you write really good songs that you perform, those got popular, or, maybe you are a producer and a songwriter and you're making these songs and you're pitching them to other artists, right? You're contacting A&Rs, you're contacting just other artists, and you're pitching the song. Say, I have this song, I think you'd sound great on. And this is where a lot of artists just don't get this, right? Like, you think, oh, you wrote a bunch of songs and, I just want to become a songwriter. No, if you were writing a song for me, because I've had other artists that have sent me songs, right? And please do not send me songs, okay? But like, just hear me out here, is that like, you study what kind of songs they do. Like for me, hard rock or hip hop. And when someone would send me a song, it's like, it's polished. A&Rs don't want to hear some half-baked song over an acoustic guitar with untuned vocals. That doesn't sound great. Like, it's got to sound like a freaking record. It's got to be amazing. And so if you're an artist and you're like, oh, I want to write lyrics, and I write these lyrics and these songs, well, you either need to team up with a vocalist or a vocalist and a producer, or just a producer if you're going to sing it, right? And you make these finished songs. Like, I have been in the room where a buddy of mine who's an artist and another producer were putting together songs because Usher was needing songs, or Justin Bieber was needing songs, or Chris Brown. And these songs sounded like records. They were incredible, polished, ready to go, right? Because the bar is high, right? Like, you want to become a songwriter, that means you need to get the chops. It's got to sound like a hit record. And the way you're going to do that is by working with producers, is by teaming up with a producer, or you being a producer yourself. And then you're basically sending this song out to tons of people and trying to get it cut. And that's where basically going to songwriter camps, meeting different people where songwriters hang out, the Songwriters Guild. There's so many different, different relationships that you can build and get in the know, right? And building relationships is everything. The next one I want to talk about is, of course, Spotify, right? But how does that relate to a Christian artist? Well, did you know that there's a new Music Christian Friday playlist? And there's lots of different Christian playlists on Spotify. And actually, the riches are in the niches. The more you put your foot down and a stake in the ground saying, hey, this is what I am, right? Like this is where I'm sitting. I'm in this genre. I'm in worship, or I'm specifically in Christian hip hop, or specifically in Christian rock. Like the more you focus and just say, this is who I am, and unashamedly be that, and releasing songs and doing that, it's like, okay, Spotify can recognize who you are as an artist and where your songs should be shared, right? And really focus on that. And then I would say start releasing songs. I always say collaborate with other artists, because you can tap in to their fan base and you get a primary artist on your song. Work with other Christian artists. That's the cool thing. Like we have this Bible, we have this code of ethics, things that we believe in, right? And it's like, hey, I wrote this song about this, sharing this story. Do you want to hop on it? Same thing applies though. You got to pay people. Be fair. Right? Don't be just expecting it for free because we're Christian brothers, unless it's like, a 50-50 deal. Like then if you really want them on on the song as a primary artist, either give up some of the master or pay them out. And then you own the master because you're going to be the one promoting it, right? Or give them some of the publishing, however you want to negotiate it. But stop with this stuff like, just do everything for free or whatever. No, pay people what they're worth. Right? This is why I've had good relationships, because I always paid on time, and you treat people right, and you don't get funny and weird about money. It's just like, hey, this is normal. Okay? Pay people, but you want to start releasing songs, and you want to get at least 10 songs out there. You want to put those on a Spotify playlist. You want to genre base it. Okay? So is it worship songs? Is it hard rock songs? And under the Christian genre, come up with the Spotify playlist, and then you're running traffic to that, running Facebook, Instagram ads, and then you're releasing more singles, everything that I've taught. But what's so cool about this is that like you're really shouting out your audience. Christian this, like it's just such a call out. And a lot of artists will say, well, you can't target Christian artists on Facebook and Instagram ads anymore. Well, you don't need to, because the algorithm is so smart. We just target the country, just target the United States, target Canada. And if like wherever like you're running ads for, if you're wanting to do shows as well, like if playing live is part of your business model, then like and you lived like, let's just say in California, then I would really target all your online ads and advertising to like California, maybe above you, Oregon, Arizona, and Nevada, right? So that you're really covering that area, because those are the closest places that you can tour. Really, California is so massive that you can just like tour up and down that, right? But obviously you're going to want to, break out of there and play more shows. But like if I'm a touring artist, like of course I'm going to run ads where I can most likely, build a fan base online, but then monetize it back by playing shows, because I want to go play shows where people know me and they know the songs, right? And we get into more of that strategy. And if you want more strategies as well and want one-on-one coaching, join our Fanbase University community. I go live every week. I answer calls. We got believers in there. We got non-believers in there. I don't, discriminate anyone. But join and get coaching and get help. I'd love to answer more of your questions, because I know you're going to post them below. But just come and hang out. It's a monthly thing. You can cancel anytime. It's called Fanbase University. I put the link below. Now, a lot of Christian artists, they'll get success, right? And then all of a sudden they're like, well, I want to cross over into the mainstream. But the problem is, a lot of artists, Christian artists, want to cross over, but they don't want to take the cross over. Okay? And I just really want to encourage you, like a lot of artists will start to get success in the Christian industry, and then they'll go into the clubs and the bars, and they'll just get eaten alive because they didn't have a firm foundation. All of a sudden you're in this place, and all of a sudden you're cheating, you're drinking, and your marriage falls apart, and you weren't ready because, we're called to be salt and light. Salt and light penetrates. We're supposed to change the temperature of the room when we walk into it, not get affected by it. So if you are going to cross over, you want to make sure you're ready, especially when you're going in that environment. Like, to be honest, like, even though I'm a Christian artist, my very first success was in a country that doesn't even believe in God. It was in Japan, and they didn't even care. And most people don't even care, what you believe in, because the music is so dope. And that's the power of music. Like, God created music, and we have the power to influence and change lives. And I remember sometimes being like, oh wow, they're a Christian band. They're really good. Or their music speaks to me, right? But like, if you want to cross over, well, then you just start playing different shows. It's a completely different thing. You're playing with shows with different bands. You're not playing in churches anymore, right? You're playing in clubs. And one of the ways is for crossing over is you're not getting paid a fee so much as you are selling tickets. And that goes from either soft tickets to hard tickets, right? Soft tickets is where it's like you're already getting paid already. You get paid whether people come or not. Where in the club and bar scene, you only get paid if you sell a certain amount of tickets, unless it's like an event or a certain special thing. But like going from soft to hard tickets, where you only get paid, it's based on your draw. How many tickets can you sell? How many people can you draw? And this is like really important for building a long-term business, and it takes longer sometimes. And this is why, you don't want to be playing shows anywhere really until you've built up the audience. Right? Like, we didn't go to Japan until I built up the audience, and then we would be able to sell 700, 800 tickets in Tokyo, right? Which is wild with now social media and posting online. We can build up the fan base first with organic content, running ads, and build up the audience, and then go tour it. Right? Like, so we used to put the cart before the horse, where we'd grind it out on the road, playing churches, playing clubs, playing bars. We played it all, right? And it's not fun playing to nobody and building the fan base slowly. And that's where I loved, and I talk about this a lot, is buying onto a tour, buying onto an already successful tour. Whether that's Christian or mainstream, it works in both industries. I bought onto tours. I've had other artists buy onto my tours, and they were thankful to pay me the money. Just like I was so thankful to just hand over, here, take my wallet, take my money, because I'm in front of hundreds, thousands of people all at once. And it's the exponential growth. And this is why, coaching and mentorship and knowing what works and what doesn't is so important, because you get to your dreams faster. Why do my people perish? For a lack of knowledge. I wouldn't have signed the record deal we did so quickly with the Christian label so fast. I would have stayed at my job longer if I had known, but I didn't know. And unfortunately, I went through a lot of pain, a lot of hardship. I was away from my wife a lot, didn't need to happen, and I could have done things the smart way. And so I encourage you, pray, take action. Don't procrastinate though. God's waiting on you. All right. You're not waiting on him. He's already told you. He's given you his word. You're called to something great, but step out there. Don't be afraid of money. Don't walk in fear. Walk in faith. Take action. Make the best possible music you can. Don't love the money. Use the money to love the people. Make impact. Make the best music. If you are afraid, turn that anxiety into anticipation and think, okay, who can I love on? Stop going to the events looking to get and go looking to give. Who can I go and impact? I'm going to, give something away, as opposed to like the poverty mindset of like just me. Let's go and give. Let's go pray for someone. Let's go impact someone's life. Let's go change a kid's life. You see a kid that's like looking down or having it rough, buy him a drink, do something. You know what I mean? Like, you can change someone's life so instantly, because like when you're going through a tough time and you're depressed, the best thing to pull you out of that depression is by helping other people. And that's what we can do with our music. That's what we can do with our message and our voice. So you're needed out there. The world needs you out there. And so go make a difference. I hope to see you on one of our coaching calls in the future. Click the link below, go to fanbaseuniversity.com, and you can find out more information. And I hope to see you there.